Hello, and welcome to this edition of Coming Home, live after semester at sea. My name is Dee Colombini. I was one of the ship counselors on Voyage 134. Our special guest today is Chris Dietrich. He was a companion on the voyage. And in case you are new to our series, let me tell you a little bit about Semester at Sea, or SAS as we call it. SAS is a semester-long study abroad program on a ship. There are students, faculty, and staff, and classes take place at sea and in ports around the world. Our Voyage 134 traveled to 10 different countries, and we sailed from Europe to China. So the idea for this series came about after we realized that re-entry, readjusting to life back home can be somewhat of a process. So it's been several months since we came back from Voyage 134, and we wanted to talk about what re-entry has been like for our fellow voyagers. So welcome, Chris.
Hi, great to be
Hi,
here.
lovely to have you.
Yeah,
Please
thanks for
introduce,
having me. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. Please introduce yourself. Tell us what your role was on the ship. And then we also want to know a little bit about what life at Semester at Sea was like for you.
Hi, I'm Chris Dietrich. I live in Fort Collins, Colorado, and on the ship, I was both a companion. Well, I guess I was a companion, but I hung around a lot with the lifelong learners, which are, older travelers that join the voyage. And so for me, it was a great experience. I wasn't on very long. I was only on for about 3.5 weeks, and which is something that people who are considering being companions should know is that they can come and go on the voyage as much as they want. I stayed for the first part of the voyage and left, and I know there were people that I was on the companions that I was on the voyage with who also left, but then came back later, which I did not. So that's just kind of an interesting thing. There's a lot of flexibility around being a companion on the ship. And I loved it. I thought it was great because as a companion and a lifelong learner, you can take the class, you can sign up for some classes. Um, and I signed up for the things that were super interesting to me, and they were fascinating. The instructors were excellent. And one of the nice things about it is it's like auditing a college course, and you don't have to do any of the assignments. You don't have to do quizzes and things like that. Or you could do them, but if you turn them in, you're just adding sort of to the burden of the instructors. So that's optional, but it's just lovely to be able to be in and listen to the class, be a part of the discussion, and really learn some things that maybe didn't have a chance to learn before. I'm a curious person, so that was really important and valuable to me.
What an opportunity to not have to worry about grades.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And so a companion is someone who accompanies or joins one of the faculty or staff on the ship.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're sort of riding along. And some of the other companions, so the companions are a varied group. There were a couple of companions or several like me that were spouses of Stackelty. There were also companions that were providing daycare to Stackelty. They were all ages. Some companions were Stackelty's family members, like their children. So as a group, companions um, are often very diverse. And now the lifelong learners, like I said earlier, generally older people, either later in their careers or have retired. I'm still working. But I hung with the lifelong learners, and that was a great experience too, just getting to know those people and having conversations with them about the classes and about our experiences. And in port, we would travel together and help each other out. And it was a great, great community of people. Everybody just really appreciated each other and helped each other out. And it was kind of like a little family on board. It was really, really nice.
That's great. Many people have talked about just the community on ship, and I like
Hmm.
that you point out it's across the lifespan. It's children to adults that are past their maybe at the end of some of their careers. So are past their
Yeah. One of the opportunities that I think I didn't have, I didn't get into because I knew I would only be on for a short time was there's an opportunity for companions and or lifelong learners to sort of adopt students. I can't remember what the program's called now. Maybe you remember. I don't know. But I didn't get a chance to do that. I think if I'd been on the ship longer, I would have done that and gotten to know some of the students a little better. I knew a few of the students, or got to know a couple of the students a little bit, but not to the depth I would have had I been on the ship longer.
Right, that's great. Yes, you can have a ship family where
Ship
some
family, that's it.
yes, a
Yeah.
ship family. Yes,
Yeah.
great. Wonderful. So tell us about one of your favorite memories from semester at sea.
Oh my. There were even for that short amount of time, there were so many. Let me look here. Oh, it was probably coming into Lisbon at sunrise. So we had come down from Europe and we sort of turned left and we're heading into Lisbon Harbor just as the sun was coming up. And there's so much to see, and you go through this big bay and you go under that bridge. It's a lot like the Golden Gate Bridge, and there's the Mariners or Explorers Monument on the left, and it was just magical. It was amazing. And yeah, that's a lifelong memory for me. Coming in at sunrise was just outstanding.
It was water. It was just so beautiful. Yes,
Yes, it was. Yeah.
beautiful. So what is one of the things tell us about some of the things that you miss the most?
Well, like I said, I made friends on the voyage amongst the faculty and the lifelong learners. And I'd say that's a big part of it, is missing those people that, like I said, we were only together for a short time. I wasn't on there that long, but those friendships and those bonds developed pretty quickly. And so I miss that. Um, so I'm trying to stay in touch with those people as much as I can. And the WhatsApp chats just keep coming, so that it's not that hard. Yeah. Um, and which is a really good thing because there is a bit of a culture shock coming back from the trip. The other thing I miss is sort of from a practical perspective, is I miss the meals. I loved getting dinner and breakfast in the dining rooms, and the staff was fantastic. The food was really good. I never got tired of it. Of course, I was only on there for 3.5, 4 weeks, but I didn't have to cook my meals while on ship, and that was fantastic. And of course, going into port and trying new things and having new experiences every day you have a new experience, whether you're on the ship day after day as you're going between ports, it's new every day, and getting into port, it's a new day every day. And so you come back to your life and you get into your routine, and so you kind of miss that excitement of what will the day bring, which is nice.
Yes. Not to mention what food will be
Well,
there
yes, what will the chef bring for
from the
breakfast or
ship.
dinner? Yeah.
Yes. So tell us a little bit, how was coming back for you and what were some of the main struggles?
Coming back was interesting. I think the first struggle with coming back was leaving. I was in
Mm.
Casablanca, and that was the saddest moment, was walking away from the ship at 3 in the morning because I had like a 6 o'clock flight, and having to leave my wife and go through the mechanics of getting to the airport and getting on the plane. And it was just that was hard. That was hard. Um, so but then the other thing was, I got through all that. And then when I got home, I had a sick dog to deal with. And so, having to kind of jump right into that I didn't have a lot of time to, dwell on uh, leaving. I jumped right back into my life. And, um, I was a little surprised that, I'd been gone for a month from work, and people, I think, were only sort of superficially interested in my experience, which was interesting. I mean, I did put some slides together of the photos that I took, and we do a weekly all hands meeting with an icebreaker, and that was the icebreaker a couple of weeks after I got back. And so people were, I mean, they were interested, but you've just had this great experience that's like sort of life changing. And so for you, it's a big deal. But, while you were gone, life moved on and people, things progressed at work and some things happened at my work that were challenges for me when I got back because I wasn't there to sort of manage those things as they were happening. So that was difficult. And I suppose that would also be true. I mean, sort of, so, I mentioned my dog was sick. So that was happening while I was gone, right? So there's these things that happen while you're away that you're not aware of that just sort of fall into your lap when you get back. And so that's a bit of an adjustment. And you have to adjust back to cooking your meals and cleaning your room and doing your laundry, which is all taken care of. And that's one of the things that was really nice about being on this voyage was that you put your stuff in a room and then you just leave it there and the room follows you around wherever you go. And that's super nice. And, even though we were going out, in in the ports and doing really cool things and seeing new things, meeting new people, um, it the ship was your home and you really do feel this really like it's really nice. You see the ship and you're like, that's my home. That's home. And it feels good to get back onto the ship, even though you've been having really interesting and exciting experiences too. So that's kind of a lovely thing that your home sort of follows you around while you're on the voyage. And so such a unique experience, and I would encourage anybody to do it. And so, as far as managing what was going on when I got back, I just sort of got into the work, right? I just sort of got into my work at work. I dug into some things that needed to happen around the house and frankly, kind of distracting myself from sort of the melancholy of not being on the rest of the trip. And of course, I'm getting texts from people that are having experiences that I'm not, and that's an interesting uh, sort of thing going on that you can see that the ship is continuing and people are going to places that you wish you could be there with them and they're having experiences and you're not having those. And so, I mean, I'm not saying that that's overwhelming in any way. It's just a fact of life. And so you just have to, I tried not to jump in too much on those conversations because I knew that they were having their own experience and I didn't want to insert myself into an experience that I was a part of. So that's another way you have to be, if you're not going to be there for the whole trip, something to keep in mind, how you want to manage that aspect of it.
I'm really glad that you came back to that and talked a little bit about that because that is a little bit of a unique situation. Um,
Right.
and it is another layer of maybe loss and grief that talk about
Hmm.
FOMO, you can see in live
Yeah. Yeah.
action that you're missing out and you know what you're missing out on this wonderful experience that you just had and want more of.
Absolutely. But I wouldn't say that was so overwhelming or strong of an that post trip like I, I wouldn't tell anyone to let that fear of that or that get in the way of doing it because going on the voyage was amazing even for the short time I was on it and I would never trade it. It was just a fantastic experience and a really unique experience. I don't think even people who travel a lot don't travel like that. They might
Mm.
be on a cruise ship and they might go around, oh, let's say the Caribbean or around the Mediterranean or whatever, with a bunch of other people on a cruise, but it's not this is not a cruise. It's a voyage and it's a working voyage in many ways. And it's an educational voyage in a way that isn't that you won't get any other way. And it's a really unique mix of people of all ages, all backgrounds. I mean, between the staff, the faculty, the students, the lifelong learners, the companions, all the crew. You get to know the crew a little
Mm.
bit, and they have really unique experiences, and they're fascinating people. They have a lot to share. You can rely on them to help you with anything you need, and that I mean, even a little bit of emotional support at times. The crew is fantastic, and the captain was a delight. Just everything about the experience was just for me was unique and what's the priceless? That's the word I'm looking for.
Priceless. Oh, I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Priceless. I don't think I can't even add to that. That was just so beautifully said. And it just, yeah, you get at it. And I think one of the taglines was, Voyage 134, authentic to the core. I mean,
Right. That's right. I'll remember that forever.
yeah,
Yeah.
how do you match that?
Yeah.
So, thank you for talking with us today.
Well,
Is it,
thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure and an honor.
well, we are happy and honored to have you as well. Um, I wish you many wonderful journeys. Thank you for talking with us.
All right. Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.